welcome back to a how-to series, A Day in the Life with Evolven. Today we're going to look at reducing my mean time to resolution, my mean time to restore, and my mean time to identify problems using a non-blended approach. Please take a look at our other series where we blend the APM data in with Evolven to solve a problem. Today I am basically a Tier 2 or Tier 3 support analyst for on-demand loans. My job during the incident management process is to review the symptoms, find changes, and to conduct any analysis to find out what is the potential problem from that change. Provide detailed data on what needs to be corrected, and to assure the configurations are changed back to the normal status in order to restore the service. The second thing that we need to look at today is I have a post-mortem process to reduce long-term risk. And the two things we'll look at today is, were these changes authorized or unauthorized? And can we create a policy or process to prevent this from happening in the future? So let's set up the scenario. Basically what's going on is my on-demand loan application is having significant slowdowns. The issue has been reported by the users in the APM tool, and the initial data is telling us that it looks like it's coming from a Tomcat 01. So let's go ahead and find and resolve this issue. So now that we're in the dashboard of Evolven, what I want to do is I want to take a look at my high-risk changes that's happened over the last few days to see if I can see what's going on and causing this issue. So by clicking into the analysis dashboard, I can very quickly start to filter down on what I want to look at. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look at the last couple of hours here. So I'm going to filter very quickly, and then I'm going to move down, and I'm actually going to see if I have Tomcat. So it is a Tomcat problem that we see that's happened in the last few hours. And we can see very quickly that it's a max thread connector port that has been changed. If I look at my consistency values, I can see that Tomcat 02 and Tomcat 03 are set to 75, and Tomcat 01 is actually set to 15. The interesting thing is Tomcat 02 and 03 are both working fine. It's the Tomcat 01 that is not. So I relay this information to the team, and immediately somebody speaks up and says that value should be set to 150, not 15. I asked what happened, and they said basically what we did last night, if we look at history, we can see very quickly that they made a change from 150 to 75, and what they said was they made this change during a change window, and they were doing some testing. They wanted to move this back to the 150 setting to test to see if they could get any more max connections and better performance on the server. In doing so, they accidentally did a fat finger, only set it to 15. This fat finger is actually what's causing the problem. So I relayed this to the team and said, you guys are more than welcome to please change that back to 75 and or 150 and see if this resolves the issue. They went on ahead and did this, and they actually were able to resolve the issue very quickly. The other thing that came up was the reason that they moved this back to 75 from the 150 testing was because they were actually having some memory issues. So what I decided to do is to actually come back and just take a look at all of the changes that happened over this time period to see if I could help them with what was going on with their Java heap memory issue. And very quickly, as I moved down, I noticed that we had a debug flag turned on one of the servers. I highlighted this and took a look very quickly and realized it was Tomcat. The interesting thing was this change was actually around the same time that they started having their Java problems. So I relayed this to the team, also told them to please turn the debug flag off and actually go out and clean this directory structure up, and that will probably resolve their Java heap memory issue also. They've done that. They stated that that did take care of the issue, and they've actually moved on from that. So the last two things we want to do is we want to see which ones were authorized versus unauthorized, and also if we could create a policy to prevent this from happening in the future. So we can see very quickly that some of these are authorized. The debug flag was authorized because it was part of an RFC, and they were actually doing some testing. But the other changes that we were looking at with that max threads was an unauthorized change. Now, the second thing we want to do is we want to create a policy. So in our postmortem, management did ask us to go ahead and create a policy so this cannot happen again. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to say max threads, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in Tomcat. And then what we're saying is any Apache Tomcat server, it must equal 75 I'm sorry, we're actually going to change that must be greater than or equal 75. So by saving this now, we now have a policy in place. We can see that the policy was applied. And now if this ever does change from 75 to below, say 60 or 50, we will be able to pick this up immediately in a policy alert, and we'll be able to prevent this problem from happening in the future. So let's recap. Basically what we wanted to do is find and resolve the issue and identify the original problem. We did that very quickly, and we were able to remediate both issues. The second thing we wanted to do is determine whether these were authorized versus unauthorized. We did notice that some of these were unauthorized, and we will place them into the report so the incident management and change management team can get better with their RFC process. And last but not least is the company asked, can we prevent this from happening in the future, since we know this configuration item will cause significant issues. So we went on ahead and created a policy, we implemented it, and now we'll be notified if that change ever happens in the future. I hope you enjoyed this series. We look forward to seeing you back again. Thank you.